not worried about being perfect anymore because it's crippling.
Oh,
Lost you there, buddy.
I was like, what happened? I guess this is the best conversation, the best interview I've had.
That's how this was supposed to go. Like, okay, here's what
Call it
I'm trying.
Rid.
Let me try to refresh the right window. That's exactly the way that I wanted to start this. Is
Perfect.
a fucking rib. Okay. All right. Finally, we're public after some technical difficulties because, well, folks, I'm not smart.
No,
I don't know
no,
I don't know what you expect out of me
you're
anymore. But
you're not. But
But
that's
we're live. We're live. It is Struggling with Sozio, episode 43. And today, this is one that I certainly wanted to do in person, but because he's a sickly man and
I am.
he moved to North Carolina, I could not have my buddy Rob Dimension with me today, but he's here today for you folks. How are you, Rob?
I'm doing good, man.
Yeah.
Just trying to live life, to the best that we can right now with everything that's happening. But I'm
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm starting to feel a little bit better. I'm having
Good.
other issues, but I'm starting to feel better. But I'm with the right person, and I think that really makes. That's what life's all about, finding the right person that you can be with and being happy. And the other night I said, my fiance Vanessa, we're going to get married soon on Halloween, actually.
Yeah, I'm not coming, by the way.
No, you weren't invited.
All right.
Yeah. We were just talking, and I just said, I went through 25 years of not really finding much. Yeah, I mean, I was happy and there were good memories in there because you have kids and everything, but it just wasn't right. And, I think when you find the right person, it just changes your life. So, sadly with the COVID thing, it kind of threw a monkey wrench in there, but, we're managing. And she is a public health nurse, and she has made it her life's goal to take care of me. So,
Wow, what an angel! What an angel! I
he
mean,
really is an angel.
not only, yeah, like she decided to date you, and then she said yes that she would marry you,
and
now
nurse me.
and now
She's my nurse.
24/7 personal nurse, man.
That's
I tell
right.
you,
Yeah,
you must have been a saint in your last life. Is what's going on here?
It's funny. I've never really been someone that believes in past lives, but there was something that this is so weird. People are going to think I'm odd, but when we first were together, there were times where I could almost see her in a past life that we were together.
Right.
And
I believe that.
it's so that's why I think that we're just kindred spirits. We got along really, really strong from the start. She totally gets my humor. I get hers. And nurses have like a bizarre sense of humor from what she said.
Oh, I bet.
So she's, just as crazy as I am, I guess. And we just laugh a lot, and we try to help each other and support each other and just be there as much as you can, because that's what life's all about, I guess.
And like along those lines, like I definitely did want to start off by just asking you in general, like, do you believe in fate? It's a similar thing because being a close personal friend of yours, since you moved to North Carolina, what was that, about 4 years ago? Or
yeah, over 3 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, like just knowing everything that's going on in your life, a lot of it has been hardship in some ways, emotionally or what have you. So, sometimes getting past all that and there being a rainbow at the end or sunshine or whatever, use whatever metaphor you want. Do you think this is a chance, or do you think it is sort of your destiny to have been put here and find Vanessa and so on?
That's a tough question. I think that there's kind of a plan, and you kind of wiggle your way through it through life. And I don't know if it's something that you did in a past life that would necessarily dictate how this life was. I mean, I know that, we have each said that it would be really nice in the next life to find each other at an early age and, kind of experience life together, as a whole, and maybe celebrate 80 years
Right.
together,
Right.
and have kids together and stuff, because we each have kids and they're
Sure.
great kids. And, we
Rob's all right. He's all right.
yeah, we
Your
have we
sons
have
are
a
handsome.
we have sort of a good family. Her kids are a little spaced out a little bit too. They're not too far, about 2 hours
Right.
away. But
I
my
got
kids are literally like 10 minutes down the road. So,
you. Right.
but I don't know. If it is fate, I'm really happy that this was planned for me. I don't know if it's necessarily fate. I think that I do believe things happen for a reason, but I don't know what the reason is. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah. Sometimes I tend to think that it's we're all sort of living a life designed for us with specific lessons we're here to learn.
Mhm.
I think some people are here to teach lessons. Some people here are here to learn lessons. And then there's others that are here to like be the lessons, And I think you and I know a lot of those people, unfortunately, coming from the pro wrestling business that we've lost along the way for different reasons, or I mean, you name it, but
Yeah, man, being in pro wrestling for I'll be I'm in for 20 years, and I'm not in now, but
right.
I look back and it creates so many. It's like it's almost like a cult, right?
Big
So
time.
yeah, so there's a hierarchy, and then you have to do things not to anger the hierarchy, and you have to do certain things, and then if you do things, there's snakes, just like in politics.
Oh yeah.
And then there's people that jump ahead. There's born leaders. There's people that shouldn't be leaders. So you have a variety of things, and and we do lose people along the way, and it's sad. It sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. But hey, we're still here, right? So that
Yeah.
must mean that must mean that we're the worst of the worst, right? Because it seems like
I guess.
yeah, but I mean Barr just died, so I guess the equation balances itself out here and there.
Yeah, I managed him a few times with Nick Burke, actually. And you know what? I always got along great with him.
Yeah, he was an all right guy. I just kid about that kind of shit.
It sucks. He's a young dude, and I'm assuming that he just was unhappy. I don't know the details. I don't need to know, but I'm just assuming that he was just unhappy. And I think that happens a lot. We talk about that a lot. When you leave, no matter the size of the spotlight, whether it's small and microscopic on 25 fans, right? And no one out the door when you go to Wawa is going to know you, or no one the next. Right. You're known for that little bit of time, and I think that it's hard to walk away from that and be normal, because and I don't really know if there is a normal, but I find myself struggling. And I know I'm not alone, because we talk about this so much that,
sure.
It's hard to not just tell certain people to, fuck off, or, how you kind of, whether you're working people or whatever you're doing in everyday life. And, sometimes people don't have an angle. The average person may not necessarily have an angle, but right. To us, we might believe that they do.
Right. Yeah. What's your angle here?
In our head, we're thinking like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? But
is he vying for a spot right now with me?
Yeah. Like, what does he want? Does he want Friday off or something? Like, what's he doing? This guy working for her. Yeah. So but it's. So I find even still, we had both talked about doing. I did YouTube stuff for a while. I did stand-up comedy for a while. And I'm wondering if now I'm at that place where I don't really need it anymore, right? So I'm there's so many nights where Vanessa and I are sitting in our recliners or on the sofa together, or laying in bed, or whatever the case may be, or watching TV, and I think like this is great.
Sure.
I don't need an audience for this. Like this,
right? And not even that it's great, but it's enough. You
It
know,
is, yes.
it feels like it's enough because yeah, I've been really struggling with that a lot lately too. I've been talking about it on here. I was just talking to Derek Thorne about it, and he basically labeled it as, for somebody like me, an approval addict, where like you're constantly seeking the approval of people that honestly don't matter in my real life, like
Right,
inside my home, you know what I mean, like that's like the primary
right. And I
it,
think we forget that.
yeah,
We forget that because I think it's easy to forget because we're looking at, and social media hasn't helped where,
no,
we're looking at the amount of likes that we get. Like, oh, am I losing my momentum? Like, am I no longer a voice in this community or
and
whatever
also
you want to say?
comparing it to other people's
Sure.
likes
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
Like, oh, why is that person getting, why is their video getting shared more, or why is everything happening? And I think it plays
Sure.
right now, especially with everybody, a lot of people still being home or whatever. I think that it really works on your brain, and you're just like trying to figure out like which way is up, and I've been trying to spend less time on social media. I haven't really been posting much because I don't really, first of all, I don't really have anything to talk about. Like, I'm
Right.
happy, and
Right.
and what happens in our circle stays in our circle.
Right.
So, to me, I'm happy with that. And I don't need that fake approval, like, and I find myself still going into it, still looking for it. And it's hard. It's like I think there's a somewhat natural part to it, but at the same time, I don't believe that we were ever designed mentally to be able to deal with the capacity of social media, where we all have a voice, we all can have an opinion, we all can achieve some sort of social status, whether it's, I mean, the kid that's next to us, he's like I don't know, 19-year-old kid or 18-year-old kid, he's like thinks he's a social influencer, he's got his Instagram tag on the back of his truck.
Oh wow, that's
So,
well, and
it's
everybody's
crazy.
trying, everybody's
Sure.
trying, you know what I mean? And I get it, and it scares the shit out of me because it feels like we're heading right towards that, like a Black Mirror episode where it's like you're either a content creator or consumer.
Oh, what a great show, by the way.
Oh yeah. I talk
Great
about it a
show.
lot. I mean, when referencing these things, but yeah, you're right, man. It's just this they say comparison is the theft of joy, and it really is. But I think for a lot of people, social media is just a boredom cure. You know what I mean? It's just I'm waiting for my bills getting changed. I'll pull out my phone, or I'm in the waiting room at wherever. I pull out my phone. I'm in line waiting to pay. God forbid you look around and beware for a minute. You know, and
Or have a conversation with the person that you're with.
that would be
Like,
cool.
how
Yeah.
many times do we go to eat and you're pulling out your phone and you look and you see people at the table and they're all just on their phones the whole time. So,
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I would be able to necessarily, if I was young, I think I would have a really hard time mentally being able to navigate my way through social media. And even older, being somewhat, where I've been on Facebook now for, I don't know, like over 10 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And I still, am finding it hard to walk away. It's just, it's a drug.
Yeah, and I think they also call it FOMO, or fear of missing out or whatever.
Sure.
Like, and in a lot of ways, in a lot of ways, you will be, but it's recognizing that what you're missing out on isn't important.
Right. But it doesn't matter if so and so had, the best beef fried rice today. Like, who gives a shit? Like, who cares?
Right. Yeah, because I mean, all it does is typically wind me the fuck up, and as that's not really hard, not
No.
with me. But
No.
yeah, it really smacked me in the face. Like I was just telling you, last weekend we were down the shore, so I have photos on my phone. Danielle's got photos on her phone. We also had a digital camera on the beach, and I started looking through everything and putting it all on my computer. And then I was going to make an album and post it. And then I said, for what? You know what I mean? Like, for who? Like, this is for us.
For likes, right.
Yeah. This is, I mean, ultimately it's for us. So why would I be, it's nice to share things with everybody and, show your remote family, things that they want to see. But I just don't think like you said, we were ever designed to do it this way, and we were certain our brains definitely can't handle the maximum influx of everybody's like, I farted today. This is what I ate today. You know, here's my ass. Look at my asshole.
Well, and I think right now, specifically, there's so much turbulence on, online due to the pandemic and people's opinions about that, and then politics and the people's opinion about that, and then you have other things that are still happening to people that they want to talk about, but it's drowned out so much. So I find people now are chiming in about politics. Like if I put up a post about something that has nothing to do with politics, there are sometimes people that will post specifically something about politics on that post. Oh, did you see so and so said this or what? And it's
Right.
it has nothing to do with it.
Right.
I don't really like getting into what I realized not too long ago, and I was pretty vocal when I first got sick about mask mandates or mask wearing, and I got very vocal about politics, and it just does no good because you're not going to change their mind. You can try to educate, but how many people go to Facebook to be educated? Not really many.
Zero. Yeah. I mean, nobody certainly ever walks away from one of those conversations with their mind changed. And I've been suckered into it dozens of times, where and a lot of times I'm the instigator, where I'll post something snarky or whatever the fuck, or a meme I photoshopped, and here out come the people that I trolled, and here they come. And I find myself 45 minutes later seething, and my heart rate's up, and it's like,
right.
what the fuck am I doing?
At the end of the day, for what?
Oh, and then
just tell someone that they're wrong, like, okay.
And I blocked it, and we block each other. It's like, oh, great, And
yeah, it's weird, It just.
And you're talking to somebody.
I think that there are like, and then you have who watches Fox News, who watches CNN. One is so far right, the other one's so far left. Where's the middle? And then you have just so much. I guess I would say venom. There are people that are extremely like as extremely opinionated as I am, because I do believe I'm very opinionated about a lot of things. I just don't. I talk to people like, that I might have things in common with about that, because I don't really, there's no really sense to argue about it anymore. Like,
yeah,
we're all we can do, if we're still talking about politics, all we can do is vote, right? All we can do is vote. So if enough of us vote, our person's going to win. If we don't, okay, then we are stuck in the same position that we're in right now that we're unhappy about.
Right,
if you're unhappy, if you're happy, then you win. It's just a matter of I really wish that society could take a little bit of just ease off for a second and just look. And I don't want to hear politicians talk. As politicians, it's almost like so you and I are going to talk privately, and we're going to talk like workers. No, when you and I talk now, time has passed. We talk like people. We ask, hey, how are the kids doing? How is this?
Sure.
If you have a problem, hey man, what's going on? We aren't trying to get something from each other. We're just having an honest conversation.
Right.
That's what I really want to hear. I want to hear honest conversations, and we just are at a point where on either side, we're not going to get that. No. Because I believe that politics is so far gone. But anyway, I don't want to talk about politics, but no, I fell into it, and all because of
no. But I mean, it just, we don't have to specifically talk about that, but it goes hand in hand with what we were saying about social media and its influence, its pull on us, the way that it triggers people, and also too, like sometimes I'm guilty of this too. And I think my brother was just giving me shit about it, basically telling me to once in a while take this and put it over there. You know what I mean? Because it can warp your brain into thinking the world is worse than it is. Because
you have to remember that their algorithm is feeding you what you want to see. So you're living in a tunnel.
Right.
Right. So you're not seeing outside of that bubble. So outside of that bubble, there's another guy that, thinks that he's right, and he's hearing everything tunnel vision wise that he wants to hear. So
Right.
they're doing studies on us constantly where they are trying to get to like fine tune it where we have really nothing to complain about and everybody is on that same train, as far as like in our circle. We leave our circle, people are going to be upset. And that's where you run into problems with groups. So you get on a group on Facebook and you can't control what you see. You see
Right.
everybody's posts. So when you see everybody's posts, and all of a sudden you're pissed. But when in your little channel, there's enough space to live, I guess.
Right. Yeah. And somebody I was just listening to was just mentioning that about how, I forget what the phrasing they used was, like the currency of the day, like, is no longer basically the almighty dollar. It's basically data, data, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
Data is so much more valuable than money itself, because with enough data, it takes out all of the guesswork. You know what I mean? Like you were just saying, you eventually know exactly who Rob is, exactly what Rob wants, exactly what to put in front of his face so that he'll click add to cart. You know what I mean? And
yeah, if I'm on eBay looking for something, now I'm on Facebook and I see an ad that has what I'm looking for, maybe at a cheaper price, maybe from somebody else or something similar to it. And now all of a sudden, it's just we're being inundated with I guess you would say, things that we don't necessarily need, but yet we're all in it for the long haul, where we're just taking it.
Yeah, and it's being packaged nicely and put you put a bow on it, and it's basically just called convenience. You know what I mean? We're getting a lot of stuff out of what people consider convenience, but I don't know. I think we definitely got to draw the line somewhere, and I don't know, like you and I know, and you especially know, because now you're halfway to a fucking 100, you old piece of shit. But so you lived in the time before time, much like I did, when there was only like 3 channels. You had to get up to actually turn the knob to change the channel, and then then we graduated to the boxes where we had scrambled spice, late at night. But
Skinamax after dark.
right. But like I'd give anything to go back to just a generation ago, man. We're just a little bit slower. You know what? Even give everybody internet, but make it so that it's shitty enough again that it's not that so easy to use. Like that dial-up shit, that was good enough. We were able to like surf the web and have AOL chat rooms and all that nonsense. And it just
now look where we're at today.
It didn't get out of hand yet. You know what I mean? It wasn't high speed. Fiber optic fucking everything and high def streaming. It's like I remember just thinking like, oh man, I can't believe there's going to be like video calls someday, and now look at this bullshit. You know what I mean? Yeah, like I got 2 screens, a recording device, and I'm looking at
I mean, if you think about it, I can remember I was just talking last night with Vanessa. She was like, what do you think, what was one of your happy thoughts when you were a kid? Like, where's a place that you went to that was kind of like, and I said, I remember riding like my BMX bike down the street with my Walkman and just having headphones on and just listening to music and just being in total zen. But those times are so completely gone that I think you can still listen to music, but there's so many more options. Like I had to walk to the Strawberries, which was a record store, then down the street, put up my $8 for a cassette. And, all I did have options where I had like 2 radio stations you can listen to that might play the music that you want.
Right.
But you were stuck listening to that CD or that cassette, that you just bought for $8 because you don't have another $8.
Yeah.
But now you have your phone, you can listen to anything, anything.
You know what? Do you have Shazam on your phone?
Yes.
Dude, how well does that work? Like, that's fucking bananas. I've used that a dozen times at least. But I'm waiting in line at wherever, and I'm like, oh, this song, what's it called? Or
right. Who sings this? Yeah,
right, dude. That's bananas. How these algorithms pick that shit up, and like I made a video probably a year or so ago, with Triple H's music in the background because I did that water spitting bullshit. And like as I posted it, it's like, this is copywritten music. Do you wanna mute the background, or do you wanna post it anyway? Or I forget what it said, something along those lines. But I was like,
Yeah, you
God,
get like a red you get a red flag or whatever.
yeah, it's just crazy to me that a computer can pick up on that without a person being like, oh, yep. Yeah, man.
There are tricks though. You can slow it down or speed it up.
Change the pitch and stuff like that, right? Like, yeah.
There's little tricks, but whatever. You know, just pay somebody to make some music for you, and you're good.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not worth the YouTube copyright strike, man.
No, it's not.
But no, man, I'm definitely gonna have to pick your brain about that sometime, because as you mentioned, I would say you were running a pretty successful YouTube channel. I was enjoying the work of Andy Piles, that's for sure. But tell me a little bit about that, and I guess, and if are you thinking about getting back into it?
Well, I had done some movies, and I had some pretty good success with some short films. They had ended up playing all over the United States, all over the world. One of them did, Baggage did. And you can actually see them still for free on youtube.com/Rob Mention. And I had decided, like, I kind of want to do something, like slapstick, silly, Jerry Lewis inspired. And I did acting with Andy, and it kind of morphed into, what it ended up to be. And, at the time I was listening to a lot of advice. I was, on TubeBuddy, like, that's like a thing. And then I was listening to these influencers on YouTube, like, you got to put more content. I was trying to figure out how many minutes to make it. Right. I was trying to figure out, what the opening needed to be to grab people. I was worried about retention. I was worried about all these things, and still trying to put out new videos every week, which, I mean, you would know, just as well as anybody else does, that it's difficult to come up with something brand new that no one has that you have to think of for that week. So, for sure. There's only so much that Andy can do until Andy goes out in public. Right. So I couldn't really do anything in public because it's just me. Like, it's literally me setting up a camera, writing the script, doing that work, doing the lighting, doing the props, whatever the case may be. Doing that, then editing it, and then if it's not right, go back and do more. So after all that, I still kind of miss it.
Sure.
I think, though, that you have to no matter what you do, whether you do the podcast, whether you do YouTube, whether you're wrestling, whatever you do, you need to do it for you. Right. You need to see the value of what you're doing for yourself, to satisfy your inner, creativeness that you have. When you start to look and you start to think, I need to make, because I've done podcasts before, when you start to think, I need ads, I need people that are going to, the sponsors, I need more audience retention. Why are they dropping off the last minute? What did I do? What can I do different? I need more views. Why aren't more people sharing it? When you start to think all of that, it kills your creativity. You start out with no expectations. You're like, I don't know if anybody's going to listen. Right. If they do, cool. If they don't, whatever. Because you're like, whatever. Sound's not a huge issue. Background's not a huge issue. You're just doing whatever you do. Well, the next thing you know, speed up, 4 months, and you've got a professional microphone, professional headset. You've got monitors all over the place. Now you're worried about, what streaming service to use, and you're listening to other people that are telling you what to do. And I would say to you, my advice to you would be the same thing that I dealt with, which, we already talked about this, I'm going to say, is that do it for you. As soon as you see that you need to have, when the thought pops into your head of, I really need to start making money at this, or I'm not doing it anymore, then it's time to stop. It's time to stop, because you're not enjoying it anymore. So what's going to happen when you start to make money and you've already said, like, if it goes down, I don't want to do it anymore. So you're going to stop anyway. Just stop. So I've thought about doing a few things. I've thought about bringing back Andy. And at one time, Vanessa and she was going to do, it was going to be Andy and Annie. and we were going to do a skit show. But
still got my fingers crossed on that one. Still hoping.
And then
I missed earlier, by the way. She said he still has a VCR, so. You know.
Oh, did she?
I missed it in the chat here.
I do still have a VCR. It's a dual deck. It is the best. Yo, so if you have a PWF tape from 2001, I made that tape myself on that dual VHS where you play it and then record it on the other one. Literally, I just came across all my old PWF videotapes the other day. So
how many did you have to crank out with that thing? And
we actually did pretty well. We had a deal with High Spots. We had a deal with this guy like in Tennessee called Off the Top Rope or something. Or
I think I remember that.
I don't know this guy. You know who he was friends with was remember the black guy that was like Hayabusa?
Yes. Yeah. Mantis.
No,
not that guy.
He was friends with that guy. I can't remember. He was real skinny.
Okay.
But anyway, he was friends with that guy, and and then we sold him at shows. I mean, for myself, I would set up at wrestling shows, like events that they had, like that Philadelphia area always has conventions or whatever. So sky's the limit. If you put the time and effort in, you can get your product out there.
Right.
But anyway, back to YouTube.
Yeah. So, you were saying that you guys were going to do.
We were thinking about that, and then I've been thinking about, when I've been a collector, and I've had a comic book shop, and a gaming shop where I had that for 10 years, and that's actually how I got started in wrestling. Was my storefront was down the street from Pro Wrestling Illustrated. So Stu Sachs would come in, Bill Apter would come in, and Bill Apter is the one that introduced me to Steve Corino, and Steve and I talked, and we started, we got the PWF up and running, and we were on channel 48, I think we were on Friday nights at midnight. But, so for me, I've been a collector forever, whether it's comic books, whether it's toys, whether it's whatever. And I've been thinking about doing some toy reviews. But again, like, what am I doing it for?
Right. Like you said, unless you really want to do it, and that you are solely just excited about unboxing something or showing off a toy, and not necessarily making the channel into something that could be a job. Yeah. I mean, like it makes total sense, and that has been my real like inner dilemma as far as this goes, and even just completely wanting to get off social media. It's just like.
I mean, I'm right there with you, dude.
Yeah, it's like sometimes it's like if I'm not going to do this anymore, and like I don't have anything to promote, I don't need any of it,
Right. Like, so that's the thing. So if once you're done promoting something, once you no longer have anything to promote, what are you putting up? Because I used to think to myself, like, why are these people putting up pictures of this or of that? But then now I'm that person that's putting up pictures of this or that because I have nothing to promote. So what am I going to do? I just am kind of I finally think that I'm actually living life.
Right.
And living life to the fullest. Sure, even though, we'll talk about COVID in a minute, but even though I've been sick and it's made me a bit of a agoraphobe, if you ask Vanessa, if she's in the chat room, she'll say that. I hate going any place because I despise I myself am perfectly designed for social distancing and not talking to anyone wearing a mask. I am perfectly designed for that.
Right.
I don't want to leave my house. I don't want to be near anyone, and I really don't want to talk to anybody. I am perfectly fine with this. So that's the whole thing. It's just,
I'm pretty much the same.
Yeah, dude. Like, I have nothing to promote, so what am I going to say? Like, that's why I said I haven't really been posting. What am I going to talk about? So people posted, "Hey, happy 50th birthday," and I was like, "Thanks." And I tried to, that's my one pet peeve about social media.
What's that?
Is that if someone writes happy birthday on your wall, they take the time out of their day. You sure as shit better say thank you. to that
Oh
person.
yeah. Everybody at the very least gets a like out of me. You know what I mean? There's a couple
No,
people. There's a
you're
few
better
that only get
than
a
that,
like.
Jeff.
There's a
No,
few tertiary fringe assholes that are only
no,
getting a like.
no. You can say thank you, dude. Come on,
That's a lot
Jesus
of
Christ.
typing.
So what are you doing that you can't respond about? What are you doing? I
Living
know
life.
you. You're not doing shit. You can give up one day. You can give up one day
We
to
just
say
talked
thank
about
you.
this. Yeah, my birthday. I'm gonna give up my fucking
Yes.
birthday for
What are
these
you
people.
gonna do? You're not going anywhere. You're gonna sit in your house and eat freaking cake. What are you doing? You're not doing anything. Right. That's what I did yesterday. I did Friday. I sat home all day. What am I gonna do?
It's fucking. We're in a pandemic.
Right. Talk
Hang on.
about shit. Oh yeah, she said hermit, agoraphobe, probably both. She's right. I said like I am perfect. If you built a nest around me, dude, I already know for a fact of years of wrestling, my bones are brittle. Plus, I'm walking into osteoporosis.
Yeah.
I'm a vegan. I don't drink any milk. So that whole theory is out the window. So I am literally like a baby bird.
Like Mr.
So
Glass.
yes, I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to see anything. Everything scares me. I'm just like a child on the inside. It's perfect.
Fucking right, dude. We're just gonna have to put some bubble wrap around you or some shit.
Let's do it.
Put a little put some over your face while we're at it, and call it a day.
It's so old, dude. I can't believe it. I'm looking at this reflection.
And since Vanessa's listening and watching, like, I can't wait to meet you. You seem like such a wonderful lady, and certainly a saint for being willing to deal with this.
Right here, we talked about this at the beginning. You're working it.
What do you mean?
You're working it for what? What do you care? You don't want to meet her. I know you. You don't want to do anything.
That's not true.
I know you. You're working it. I'm thinking like, what fucking angle is this guy trying to work? What does he want?
I don't want anything. I want her to continue to keep being the same wonderful person that she is, that I've come to know only on social media, unfortunately.
She's good.
Yeah, I could tell right away she got us and our relationship, and like, for anyone to understand the bond that we have, and the razzing and the rusing that goes on, I mean, I take that with great pride.
It's funny when so we'll talk about wrestling if you want a little bit.
Yeah, if you want to.
When Jeff and I first started, so we were on, Jeff was strictly CZW, and I was being groomed in the business by Carino, by Jack Victory, by this guy Rapid Fire Maldonado, by guys like everybody that had like been on TV and stuff like that. So they were like trying to educate you and trying to sway you the right way. And I think you probably went down a few bad paths along the way because you really didn't have any guidance. So I was fortunate to have that guidance. So when Jeff and I would get to the locker rooms, it would maybe be a handshake and a hello, and the rest of it, we wouldn't talk to each other. And it wasn't until I got into CZW that we became really good friends. It was, you and Drew Gulak and Black G's, Greg Excellent. There's a list of guys in there that I really would look out for. Tremont. All these guys, Joe Gacy, all these guys that I was trying to
and everybody that you name there, you more or less ended up working closely with, as far as when you became a backstage presence there. Like, you were our agent to a degree, or at least backstage talent relations and manager. That helped.
And my job was primarily, when I first came in, I was going to be a talent relations because they had some management issues, and I was going to help with promos because I take great pride in promos, where I don't really like it when there's a shitty background, or it's not shot well, or anything else. So then it became where I got more into the booking of things, and it got into certain aspects where I was able to, where I can remember countless Mondays when I would be at the CCW school, and I would be in the office just yelling for like 2 hours about trying to make sure that people that deserved an opportunity got an opportunity.
Right.
You know, that was my main purpose of that, where, you know, we had I believe we had a very, very strong locker room, and I believe we had a very strong, our shows, when I first got there, our shows were, I don't know, like 4.5 hours long.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I kept saying, like, you can't go on like this. So the rumor for like the 100th time was pay-per-views coming.
Right, right.
So,
TV or pay-per-view.
yes. So I was told, I took it upon myself, I should say, to navigate getting us down to 2 hours and 50 minutes, which is what you need to be.
Right.
So I had, you know, DJ at the time invest in getting wireless headsets for the refs, you know, so we can tell people to go home. We upped everything. There were shows now that we were getting closer to 3 hours.
Right.
And then finally we got to like 2 hours and 50 minutes where we needed to be. And, you know, trying to maintain everything, and the guys that were working there had trust. They didn't abuse it. They all pulled their weight together. They did fantastic. So you know, when I look back at that, there's not really any times that I have that I didn't really like.
Right.
You know, I can remember. I'll tell people a little bit of behind the scenes with you. Is we traveled to New York, and you're going to have your barbed wire match with Biff.
Yep.
Right. So
WWE's Oni Lorcan for you wrestling fans.
Right. So Jeff is very nervous, very upset, in fact, he's asking me, like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm going to get hurt. And I can remember you saying, like, you didn't want to cut yourself, like, real bad, because the barbed wire that they use, it's not fake.
No, it was very fucking real barbed wire.
It's real. It's 100% real.
Yeah,
I felt like I was your lifeline for that show, even though other people were around, where I wanted to make sure that you were okay, because you were the most nervous I've ever seen you, and I've seen you for a lot of shit.
I'm trying to recall that. Not that I would ever disagree, but I'm just trying to recall being that nervous, because and guess what else? Sometimes I show it and don't realize I'm showing it.
You were very nervous, and when you came back through the curtain, right? I grabbed you and took you to the office that was at NYWC.
Yeah.
You threw up in a trash can. And you looked up and you go, "How was that?" And I go, "It was great, dude. You killed it."
Is that what I said?
And yeah, and you go, "I'm never doing that. I'm never doing that again." And that was it for the conversation. So
yeah, and I'm pretty sure I cried too. I was like scared after the fact. Like, yes. I was scared after the fact, because like I remember Corvus was there too, and I think Nick. Yeah, they obviously they were both there, and you guys were like, "What's wrong?" And I was just like, No, I think I said it was scary, is what I said. I said it was scary, and like, you know, I could say I'm as tough as the fucking next guy, but you know, I had a lot of fucking weight on my shoulders that day, and like it in a lot of ways, and this is, you know, no pat on my back, but it was the culmination of my wrestling career. You know what I mean? That and Cage of Death for me were like the culmination of everything that Jeff Roberts truly set out to do in pro wrestling. You know, like everybody wants to go to WWE or make thousands or millions of dollars in wrestling. And obviously that was always the goal. But to excel in CZW, you know, at that time was the greatest honor I could have achieved in my life, you know, next to graduating college and then, you know, anything.
And I don't think that people understand or give you enough credit or Nell enough credit or
everybody in the program. Yeah, everybody. That was like
because
long.
You know, leading into that Cage of Death that year also, huge things fell apart. Where it ended up being you and Drew and was Nell in there?
In the cage?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Nell in the cage, and it worked out perfectly.
And it was Biff.
Right, yeah. But
So, but what happened was that all fell apart prior to. It was supposed to be 4 other people,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I pitched you guys, and you were the first one to step right up. You and Nell were like, "Yes, we want to do it." Gulak was all about it. Biff was about it, and I thought you guys put on a hell of a show that year.
I
That
was
was my
really happy
opinion.
with that. Yeah, I mean, that was my biggest concern, and I think I joked with Dan O'Hare about it, and then he said something to me after the match as well. But I was worried that like it just wasn't going to be great because we weren't deathmatch guys, and people weren't
Right.
going to know what to
Well,
make
the
of it.
people that were supposed to be in it, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Brig. I don't remember.
It could have been
But something happened where they couldn't make it,
right.
or that fell apart prior to.
Yeah, we set it up
Uh,
about 2 months before, or
yeah,
actually, it was actually maybe only a month
it,
before.
it was. It was very short time
Yeah,
because I remember, having the conversations, and
yeah. Because I
it was.
wrestled Nell in a defense that month before. I wrestled Black G's in November, and we kind of had that schmoz finish where me, him, and Goo were going at it, and then we got on the mics and we were like, "Well, there's only one way to settle this." We did that whole thing,
Yeah.
and we went into December, but it worked out perfectly for that story that needed an exclamation point on it. The year and a half long story of. I guess Drew being a long reigning champion there, and then my gang stealing it from him, putting it on Biff, me pulling the rug out from underneath Biff, not 5 months after his reign or whatever it was, and then Nell finally getting his we'll call it reparations.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so it all worked out.
Yeah, man. I look back at that time, and I'm happy with the promo work that we got done. I'm happy with
It was a strong locker room too.
I'm happy with the things that I could put together, the people I could pull for. I can remember. Ricky Shane Page doesn't even know me. And I can remember making sure that he got on the next show,
Right.
because when the way that I would work it was, if he came back through the curtain and he had a really great what would you say? The crowd really loved him, right? So he had a great reaction. He had a really solid match.
He made an impact, right?
Yes. So I would take it upon myself to shoot a promo with him,
Right.
and put the promo in the can. And then when he says, "I'm coming back next month," now all of a sudden he's coming back next month. I did that with a few people that I can remember, making sure that they were able to stick around, because there were some people that came in. Otherwise, I don't know if he would have done his. I don't know if he would have been there. I think that it was difficult to get in. A lot of people got opportunities, and some people got opportunities that should have done better. But I think that certain parts of the booking, a certain person was looking out for some odd reason. Like, we brought Tony Nese in, and it was me. It was me pushing Tony Nese. I had said, like, Tony Nese is so good. Like, we got to bring this guy in. He's so good. Right. And he ends up getting thrown into a scramble and losing. And I can remember it just being like a wet fart. Like, nobody cared. And I just was like, this is why you can't throw things together at the last minute. Like, if we have a plan, stick to that plan. Like, what we're doing is working. Don't keep changing it. So, but too many things changed, and I could just see the writing on the wall, and I just was like, I think that we're done here.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because I think you, me, Nell, all these guys that we're talking about now, and even your son, we all kind of just fluttered out at that place at the same time. For reasons you just mentioned, but I'm sure you watched me give your son a hard time about his life choices. That rascal, everything he fucking does, he's good at, and then he's like, "Nah, I quit. I just quit."
Yeah, it's just it's what he said to me the other day. He said, "I'm never going to say never," but I mean, so here's the thing, right? So he's 20. He's already got one bad knee. He's got fluid around his knee still, and he gave a lot for that time that he was there. Whether it was amateur wrestling, whether it was professional wrestling, he put his time in. And in the beginning, when he said that he didn't want to be a part of it anymore, I was very disappointed, and
Right.
I probably put pressure on him that I shouldn't have, because I should have just said, he's doing this because he's 18 and he wants to be 18.
Right. Right.
And we look back at it now, and I'm happy with any choice that he makes as far as wrestling goes. Like if you want to go back, there's things you have to look at, as studies continue on. CTE is a big issue. Your body's going to break down. I mean, you're probably one step away from killing somebody. And your body probably looks like hamburger meat on the inside. You just look like shit. So
yeah, and the outside.
Well, I didn't want to say that, but there's a lot that goes into it, and mentally, it is so tough mentally. If you are listening to this and you want to be a professional wrestler, I would say first find a really good school. Don't just find a school that's close. No. Find a school that's really good, that people are really good. Look and see if people are getting opportunities. Where, who's putting out talent that's going places. If you're going to go to Billy Joe Bob's wrestling school and they draw 12 people and no one's in shape, no one's, they all think they're stars, you're going to go nowhere. You have got to expand. You got to make the rides. You got to get in with the right people. I would tell people, like, if you have to relocate to PA and go to ROH or go to Maryland, or go to cheeseburger school that's up in PA, or there's a million places to go to. So just find a good school. I think the Dudleys have a school in Florida. Yeah. So, there's a bunch of schools you can go to that are credible. I think, Seth Rollins has a school, doesn't he? Like in the middle of the country or something.
I mean, I think he's from Iowa or something, so he might have school out there. Yeah. No, I mean, I wouldn't put it past him, but yeah, and certainly understand too that it's a pay to play program, man. Until somebody gives you a contract, understand that you're paying to do this for the most part, especially like you said with the rides, the tolls, or whatever. If your wrestling school's 2 hours away.
Again, don't think you're gonna go in and be, Kevin Owens. It is. I'm telling you, let's put it like this. Now, we've known Drew Gulak forever, right? Yeah, so for years. I knew him when he first started, because I would come down to the CGW school sometimes when I was sniffing around for a job there, actually.
Right.
And Sammy Callahan, I think, was the trainer at that time. And so he's getting there. He's fine. He's showing that he is good enough, that he's really strong. His promo work is his ring appearance, his everything he does is getting better and better. But let's say that he's still probably in that world, maybe 2 or 3 years away from main eventing pay-per-views, right? So it's a slow process, and I think I'm sure that he's happy with any success that he has. He's a very humble person as far as that goes, in my opinion. He puts in the work. That dude, I don't know if I ever saw anybody that worked harder than him.
No.
He gave up a lot. He put in the work. He did. I have nothing bad to say about Drew. I think Drew is fantastic, and I wish that guy all the success that he gets. It's cool, It was cool. He had an action figure made of him. That's awesome.
Yeah, I literally, I think I took a picture of it, and I was going to buy it, and then Danielle and I were like, what, you went to his wedding. Do you need his action figure? You know what I mean? Like, I think being friends is good enough. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, I think he's my fave. I was just razzing him on Instagram today. He's always showing off how good looking, what kind of shape he's in. And I said,
man, he's killing it, right?
I said, hey, dude, why don't you start working out?
Yeah, dude, lift a weight, brother. Come on.
Act like you're a pro wrestler, will you?
All right, so do you want to talk about COVID illness, or what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, definitely, man. I think it's important for people to know that it is still a threat, and for all the hoaxers out there, for all the anti-maskers, you know what I mean? I think it is very real. So, like I said, my fiance Vanessa, she works in public health. So she was at the Mecca Center for North Carolina when this started. I can remember
her working 20 hours a day and getting, I can remember when we didn't have our first case yet. I can remember when we didn't have our first death yet of COVID in North Carolina. So she was working around it. Now, in the beginning, when coronavirus happens, they had thought that it was droplets that would help spread the virus, or people were wiping down their groceries and they were saying wipe down the surfaces and watch the door handles, don't touch your face.
And when you say droplets, you mean like saliva or spit or
yeah. Or like it wasn't necessarily airborne yet,
right?
Okay,
right.
So well, it was airborne, we just didn't know it because Trump knew. I'm going to say this is going to be my little political part because I'm pissed about it because he knew that in February that it was airborne. So no one else, Dr. Fauci, no one else, he didn't tell anybody. So no one else knew until I got sick in March. So no one else knew until like April. So when I first got sick, I wasn't very sick. I had like a little bit of a cold. I was fine. I just thought, it's sinuses. It's, it's March,
right.
whatever.
Right.
Seasons are changing, whatever.
Spring.
And then I remember that I went downstairs into a parking garage, and I walked back up, and I was really out of breath. And I said to Vanessa, I was like, my heart kind of hurts. Like my heart actually hurts.
Yeah.
So she's like, well, we're going to take you to the urgent center, the urgent care. So I go to the urgent care. They give me the whole setup. They said, look, if it's your heart, if there could be a problem with your heart, go to the ER. So at the time, they were keeping everybody separate in the emergency room. You had to wear a mask. No visitors were allowed. Visitors still aren't allowed today. You had to do all these things. So I was put on the COVID floor, not knowing if I had COVID, and I was alone. And the only thing you can do is text or FaceTime. That is it.
Wow.
When I tell you, I thought the worst. I thought that I was going to die. I was like, there are people around me on respirators.
Wow.
I am literally thinking I am going to die here. It is not good. They're not going to let me out of here. I'm going to die alone. It was horrible. So
I remember that.
They do a whole bunch of things, and I was trying to encourage people, like, please, like, do what you're supposed to do, please. And they said, well, there's a speck of dust in your lung, and that was the problem. It wasn't the problem. The problem is that coronavirus, it's what they call, if you look up hashtag long hauler on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, there's long hauler groups. If you're out there and you've dealt with COVID and you're still dealing with the after effects, there are people that are supporting each other. I found out more and more, like I got way sicker. Like, so the COVID, the virus gets into your body and it starts to kind of cannibalize your organs and your heart and your lungs and stuff.
Right.
And there were days, dude, where I would sleep for 23, 24 hours a day. I couldn't get out of bed. Couldn't get out of bed. I had no strength. Couldn't eat, no strength. Then I lost my smell. I had dizzy spells. I had a fever every day. I had breathing problems where I couldn't breathe right. Like how like if somebody was sitting on your chest and you breathe, you know how like you get that panic where you know you can breathe more but you can't.
Oh yeah, of course. I have it all the time.
It's claustrophobia, right?
Shit. Yeah.
Right. So this happened all the time, and I was panicking. So I went to a couple specialists that said, well, maybe it's lupus. So I said, okay, well, maybe it is. I have no idea because I had a COVID test, but the COVID test that I had that came back negative in the beginning, she puts it in, and which is the worst test of all time, by the way.
I heard it's not fun.
It's horrible, dude.
I heard it
horrible.
Shit, huh? Like,
so she put it in and pulled it right back out. You're supposed to leave it for 15 seconds.
Why did she do that?
They didn't know. They didn't know.
They
didn't know. This is like end of February, beginning of March.
Fucking
they didn't.
second.
Dude, so I go to I go to a specialist. She says, I want to take you to the hospital, run a bunch of tests. First thing I do when I get there, lady says, I got to give you a COVID test. I was like, something I can chew on or something. She goes, no. She goes in, dude, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Kills me. Dude, if my toes could bend backwards, I was like freaking out. And they do a whole bunch of tests, a whole bunch of CT scan, blood work, breathing stuff. They look at my heart. The only thing they didn't look at was my heart at the time. I had gotten so tired of being stuck with needles. So I was so uncomfortable. I was sick every day. They were like, well, you are an anomaly where you have this fever every day. We don't know. But I still was, not feeling well. I would get a fever. Like you can see my face is red, right? Because I have a fever tonight. Yeah. Because we're talking and I'm actually doing something.
Right.
So they still, at the end of it, said, we really have no idea what it is. So, and again, so when you get tested, by the time I got tested again, my antibodies had already left. They're only in your system for like 2 weeks after you have COVID. So it does no good.
So that antibody test ultimately serves no real purpose.
If you just get done with COVID and you have it done, yes, it does serve a purpose.
No, but it doesn't necessarily mean like you're exempt from getting it again. Because I have a friend from my lodge who had it twice now. Apparently, like some people are getting it twice.
That there is some reports that people are getting twice. That's why I'm very afraid of going out.
He is overweight and has asthma, and you know what I mean. Like he's a perfect.
Yeah, I wasn't really. I was probably carrying like an extra 20 pounds at the time. I had high blood pressure. I don't eat meat. And when I was sick, I would have like these weird cravings. Like I gained like probably another 20 pounds when I was sick because I would just want to eat pasta.
Sure.
Just give me pasta and bread and I'm good. Like I don't want anything else. So now we're at a point where my immune system, I think, is starting to turn around and start to feel better. Like I'm having better days. Like today, I have one room that's designed. That's my room. We have our bedroom, and then Vanessa has her office because she works from home, and I have a media room. I guess we'll call it. Right. It's a toy room, whatever. So whatever. Yeah. So
play in.
Yeah, I'm going to go play. So I was able to get things done in there today, which was great because I haven't really been able to do anything. And little by little, I tried cutting the grass, not like 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago. Forget it, dude. It was just so bad. So it's finally I finally have an excuse why I can be a lazy bitch because I got the COVID. But for people that believe it's a hoax, or people that say that let's just put it like this. I have no interest in talking to you if you don't wear a mask. If we're talking to each other and you approach me and you don't have a mask on, do not expect me to sit there and listen to you. I have no interest. No interest because I can't tell by looking at you if you have it. How the fuck can I tell? So when people say like, oh, I know my friends, they all look good. Yeah, how do they look good? Like, okay, so they don't have it. There's something called asymptomatic. So, and people are still, we have 200,000 people dead. So it's fake. It's just crazy. And when someone says those numbers are inflated, I say, okay, inflated by how much? 50%?
Right.
Cool. Well, there's still 100,000 people dead.
Right.
We are going through 9/11 every 2 to 3 days. Yeah. Right. So that's my stand on it. And I said the other day, like, I want to fucking sue Trump, dude. I want a class action lawsuit that says you hid the fact. People are going to think I'm nuts because I don't really know if I would or if anywhere. But you hid the fact that it was airborne. You made people sick. So in turn, you owe us for all the time because I've racked up myself $50,000 in medical bills. $50,000.
And especially if you look at it as like if I get hurt on the job at work, the CEO's kind of in trouble. You know what I'm saying? So if we look at America as one great corporation that
Sure.
all of us are working members of, well,
Yeah.
most of
He
us
says he wants to run it like a business. Okay,
Right.
well, we're your employees.
Yeah.
You just fucked us. You didn't tell us.
Yeah, we need workman's comp. Asshole.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I mean we've seen it to some degree. I mean they're trying to. I mean a lot of people are still getting a little bit of extra money on top of their unemployment or whatever the case may be. But I mean,
I can tell you for myself, I was working for a company, and I was getting when I got laid off, because everything here in North Carolina shut. Everything. In fact, most things are still shut, like bars and everything else. I ended up losing my job, but I was getting work. I was getting what do you call that? Unemployment, right?
Right.
$132 a week, right? so they say, well, we're going to give you another $300. Okay, cool. That I didn't even get today. Didn't even get it today. So I have. There are people way worse than me. I'm fortunate where Vanessa has a great job. She makes great money. I'm fortunate. So. Jesus Christ! You got me heated.
I gotta play the audio here. Rob's on fire here, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know.
What audio was that? I didn't even hear it.
You didn't hear the horn? Well, it's going to be on the audio version only.
Yeah, I mean, I
played like one of those.
I get. This is why I don't really like talking about politics, because I get very worked up, because I am so the town in North Carolina that I live in. I don't think North Carolina is known for their finances. There are some areas that have more money than others, but there's a lot of low income people, low to middle class around our whole area that we're in. We're in a middle class area, but I see so many people struggling on a daily basis.
It's the name of the show.
It is. I feel so, and it's hard for me. Like, Vanessa's always saying that I play down my own issues to worry about somebody else, because she'll say, well, you have a fever today. I'll say, yeah, but it could be worse. There's kids out there with cancer. And she's like, well, that doesn't make your fever any less.
Sure.
Like, you have to acknowledge that you're sick. Like, it's okay. It's okay to have a pity party, or it's okay to feel bad, or whatever the case is.
And it's great to be optimistic, or, glass half full person.
And I feel like I am a lot where I go, okay, well, I don't know when I'll be 100% again, if I ever will get to be 100%. They want to do testing on my heart now, because they did a test where they said they tested 100 people, and over 75% of them had heart damage from COVID. They were long haulers. So they keep talking about the vaccine and everything else, while I'm still waiting for something that can kind of help get this shit out of my system, because it attacks the nerves, it attacks your nerves. So I now have issues where I deal with insomnia. I now have issues where I've now developed restless leg syndrome, where the nerves in my legs twitch, and they twitch badly, like enough where I can't sleep.
Right.
I have heart issues. Like, it just feels like a lot of pressure. It's now also messed up my digestive system, where I'm having my gallbladder is causing problems. I'm going to have my gallbladder out. So I have to eat very small amounts, and I can't have anything spicy, no fat, no sugar really. So no fun. So
my main question would be is like, am I in your will is the most important thing.
Oh, dude, you are getting nothing. You are getting.
I can't at least get one of your stupid Godzilla toys.
I will give you. I actually have 2 of the Drew Gulak figures. I will give you one of them.
All right.
I bought. Dude, how do you not buy one? I was like, oh, this is my boy. I mean, they're just sitting in a box.
I think I was just feeling cheap that day, really.
Well, I would assume. I didn't want to say that. I was just like, well, you weren't really going to take any money out of your pocket, no matter what. So.
Yeah, I mean, if I can, maybe get one hot, or maybe just like a special edition one signed, Drew.
Oh my God, could you imagine? I would put that shit right on eBay.
And also, I mean, when you gonna talk to Trips for me and Rob? Like,
For a while, I was trying to get a job down there.
Now you're making it. Now you're selling it.
No, I'm working it. It all goes back to that same thing. What's my angle?
It's real.
Yeah. I was trying to get a job there because when Drew first got there,
she's gonna make sure I get a King Kong, as you can see here on your screen. Thank you, Vanessa.
Oh my God,
Vanessa.
When Drew first started there, I was doing a lot of Drew's promo stuff. Like, he would message me, and I would send him a whole bunch of ideas, and then he would use those ideas on TV, and it was great because it was still giving me an outlet to be able to do that. But
right.
I've had other guys do the same. And I'm always happy to help people. Like, that was the satisfying part of wrestling, was being able to work behind the scenes. As much fun as I had out there.
Yeah, for sure.
As much fun as I had managing Carino, or traveling all over, up and down. We would go to Virginia. We would go all over the place, and
yeah, it was a real rewarding experience, like just working with you and Drew and even Emil doing Dojo Wars.
Sure.
And to be a big part of that program and help you guys book it and work with some of the
Joey Janela owes us, by the way.
Yeah, hey Janela.
I got news for you. Do you remember he had caused a fight at a locker room a weekend before?
Yeah. It was
DJ was like, I'm not going to use him.
Yeah.
You and I were like, you got to use him for Dojo Wars. Got to use him. And he kept saying, no. Finally uses him, and Janela's a huge star. I'm actually happy for him. So I'm happy for him. For sure. Penelope, all the people that I had any kind of, working relationship with or influence on, or was even able to see them do better. I'm happy about that.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I've been critical of certain people at times for different reasons, but that's just, I'm set in my ways, and I'm an old miserable bitch.
Well, you're jealous too, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. You
can't even afford a Drew Gulak figure, so of course you're pissed. Of course you're mad.
I'm sitting here talking to you live on a Monday night, and for your old lady here, who's much probably younger and better looking than you, by the way.
Oh, she's
a goddess. And what I wanted to say, the main thing I wanted to say, Vanessa, is you could have done a lot better than this guy.
Dude, no doubt. I say that every day. I go, you sure? You sure you don't want to go someplace? Like this can't be the best that you can get. You can do way better.
Maybe you did die in the hospital, man. Maybe you went into that room and you died, and everything past that point has been a dream. But this is the part of the dream that has kind of turned into the nightmare, because now you're talking to me again.
Well, no, that's still good. No, I'm happy that you asked me to be a part of this. I'm glad. Yeah. You were like, 2 weeks ago when you interviewed Rob, you were like, "Oh, do you want to get on?" I was like, "No, let that kid talk. He's got shit to say." Because I know, what am I going to say that he's my kid? Well, I'm going to say anything bad about him? I mean, I could, but I'm not going to. The kid worked his ass off, and then one day he just decided he's done.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm super proud of him too. And all the shit that I give him is all just out of love too, because that was a tremendous experience for me as well. Like, just getting to work with him from the time he was 14 till 16, and obviously being his friend from that point. But I got to be in a role that I never was in, and that is like older brother, mentor figure. You know what I mean? So
and you guys tagged like twice, I think, at like a Dojo Wars type thing.
Yeah, a bunch of times.
And I feel like there were people that I would tell him to talk to. I would tell him to ask of course, Drew was, I think, the main influence on him. I would tell him, talk to him and talk to you and talk to Nell. And then, there were other people that I tried to make sure that could give, he would always reach out to Steve Carino all the time, because that's, Carino's known him since he was born. So, that's a good influence. And then he would, guide him and say, don't do this or don't do that, or, whatever the case may be. So he there was a time where he was talking a lot with Kevin Sullivan.
Oh yeah.
People. So Kevin Sullivan's calling his cell phone and he's like, hey, and it just is so weird, because I barely really knew Kevin Sullivan, and him and Rob just kind of connected, and, they had a very good talk. And, when Kevin Sullivan went home, he said, I want to talk to Rob some more. So he would just say, yeah, where's Hook? And I'd say, oh, hold on. And, he would be, it was just a weird experience for everybody the whole way around. It was good.
Yeah, I think the main reason I want him to get back into wrestling is, again, just to ride his coattails to the top, pretty much.
Oh, dude, me and you both. I want that new house.
Yeah, I either want
for that house.
A goddamn Tesla or a job, like either way.
Yes.
Any way you shake it. But yeah, man, we've been at it for a while here, and I know that your fever is probably fucking through the roof now after talking
so
to me.
high.
Fucking and I'm sure
you
it's
got me heated. You got me heated today. You got me talking about shit. Got me all pissed off.
That's what I do, man. Fucking struggle. It's not called fucking sitting around with Sozio having fucking tea. It's called struggling with Sozio.
Yeah, I'm out here fucking pissing blood and vinegar.
It's 17 minutes past your bedtime, so I'm gonna cut you loose so you can go have some time with the missus, enjoy the rest of your evening. And dude, we're definitely gonna do this again soon. It sucks that it took 43 episodes to get your bitch ass on here, but I guess you've been dying.
I was one of the first ones. You're like, hey man, I want to have you on. And I was like, sorry, I'm one step away from a respirator. My bad. Sorry. Sorry, I'm in the hospital.
And there was some current events where cops killed a guy, and we were like, I guess we can't do it tonight either. It's probably not a good night.
I think you gotta pick your spots, and that was not a good spot to pick. Because I mean, for us, we were right down the road. Where Vanessa had the apartment right down the road from where the protests in Raleigh were, and if you stepped out on our patio, you could smell the tear gas.
Wow,
they burnt down the CVS. It was right down the street. It was crazy, dude.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah. We were gonna podcast that night. We were like, how about another night? Yeah, let's do it another night. But I'm glad we did. And like I said, we'll do it again soon, buddy. Do you have? I mean, we talked about it earlier, but do you have any place you want people to check you out or follow you?
Yeah, you can. You can tell people they can check out toxicclown.com. I just started building the site. It's going to be. I had done, I was going to do a movie, and I still wasn't feeling good. I thought that I would feel better by then, and the pandemic was still an issue. People were still getting sick. So I put it off, and I'd already bought like shirts and hats and stuff, masks. So I have the masks up there on the website right now. I will have more stuff up there this week, but we moved, and it's just been time consuming. They can follow me on Twitter. I'm on there. You can look for me on Instagram, on Facebook. I don't care. I'm easy to get a hold of. I mean, I don't really have nothing to say.
And you're Rob Dimension on all those things.
Yeah, I think I'm Toxic Clown Rob. I think on Twitter and maybe on Instagram.
Right on. Well, give him a follow, folks, and check in to make sure that he's still alive.
I'm still breathing.
Well, folks, have a good night, and if not, as always, go fuck yourself.